In recent years, there's been an increasing demand in China for cars that can both be outdoor lifestyle vehicles and genuine off-roaders, and sales of genuine off-roaders are up 30% year on year. So of course, it makes total sense to have a car that can do both. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the ROX 01. Yes, this is the ROX 01, a full-size, extended range off-road SUV. A car that can genuinely straddle the line between being an outdoor lifestyle vehicle and a genuine off-roader. In fact, it's so decent off-road that in the United Arab Emirates, where they do a lot of off-roading, this is the third best-selling premium SUV behind the Range Rover and the Land Rover Defender. Now, part of the reason for that success might be that it does ape the Defender in some way in terms of the looks. It kind of combines soft and taut surfaces at the same time, like the Defender does. It's got this steeply raked A-pillar. It's got a glass house that stays the same height all the way towards the back, and it's abruptly chopped off at the end. Very much reminiscent of a Defender. If you look at this car inside profile, you'll see it looks a lot like the long wheelbase version. But it's not without its own design, particularly here at the front. I do like these headlamps. These are reminiscent of the Chinese character for stone, which is the Chinese name of this brand. So they're quite unique. And I do like the chunky square grille at the front that protrudes a little bit. It reminds me of the face of a bear, the little nose on the front of a bear. Kind of inoffensive and soft and friendly, but also robust and chunky at the same time. So what about the off-road credentials of the 01? Well, for a start, we get an approach angle of 22.1 degrees and a departure angle of 25.2 degrees, as well as a ride height of up to 255 millimeters. It doesn't come with air suspension or hydraulic suspension, but it has adaptive spring system, so you can, in the system, change the settings to adapt to snow, mud, gravel, and things like that. So it should be able to do some genuine off-road stuff. It also comes with a bunch of sensors on the more expensive version that will be quite useful when you go off-road. So for example, this car will do wading up to 70 centimeters. You can get a sensor under the car that will tell you how deep the water is that you're driving through. So if you're getting too deep, it will tell you time to back out, or if it's not so deep, you can carry on through the water. At the same time, you can get a LiDAR unit on top of the screen, and what that will do is show you on the screen whether you can get through an overgrown path. So let's say you're in the jungle or in the outback or somewhere like that, and there's a fallen tree, and you're not sure if the car will get through the gap. It will tell you whether it's big enough for the car to fit through, which could be quite useful if you're in a very, very dense off-road scenario. Now, as well as that, we get ourselves 21-inch alloys as standard on this car. They look black. These are the kind of what I would call the poser alloys to make this car look good on the road. You can optionally get 20-inch alloys. Presumably they're smaller because you're going to get chunkier wheels on there to do some real off-road stuff. Of course, we also get this black A-pillar and black mirrors and a black roof as well, which give this car quite a neat look. And then we get these doors that go all the way to the bottom to make sure you don't get mud on your leg when you've been doing some real off-road stuff. Proper door handles, which people will like, especially if, in kind of an accident or something like that. And as well as that, you'll see that we have ourselves on the side a glamping tent. So this is an official piece of merchandise that's mounted onto the roof. You can simply pull that awning out on the side and do some daytime camping if you like, something that is very popular here in China. If you want to do genuine off-road stuff, this actual roof rack, you can get a proper roof rack on there that will support up to 300 kilograms of weight. So yeah, it is a very meaty bit of SUV. I do like the way it looks. As I said, it is quite reminiscent of a Defender in terms of the overall look, but it's neat. I like it. Now the rear is arguably where the 01 looks most like a Defender. So that kind of rear three-quarter profile or silhouette there, very reminiscent of a long wheelbase Defender, but it's not entirely without its own design. Again, we get that kind of stone character, the tail lamps there in the shape of the stone character, bit of chrome on the back. We also can get a full-size spare on here, and I believe you can get a tow ball as well if you want to do towing, as well as a rear window wiper. Up here, this is our high-level camera that uses that projects the picture or collects the picture for the digital rear view mirror. And I have to say, it's very high. If you get a small car, drive really close behind you, you actually can't see it with this camera. So you've got to rely on your parking camera down there. Now in terms of the boot, let me show you how much space is in there. I brought my 28-inch suitcase with me because I'm also traveling today. So what I'm going to do is pop that into the back behind the third row seats. And that's pretty much it. That's exactly how much space you have. 28-inch suitcase and a little bit of space either side. So not the biggest boot with the third row up, but you can fold the third row completely flat. You can also on this car fold the second row captain's seat completely flat as well. So you can have space for a single or a double bed in the back if you decide that you want to spend the night in your car. And if you do, you also get a power socket, 220 volt socket here, so you can charge whatever you need, camping lights and things like that. And if that's not enough, you can also use your V2L adapter for an additional 2.2 kilowatts of charging for external devices from your charging port. Now, one of the things that we don't have on our car that you can spec on the 01 is actually a boiling water kind of tea set here. So basically you can fold down something there, have a little tray table, you can get instant access to cold room temperature or boiling water instantly from the kind of little tea set in the back there, which is quite a nice feature, I have to say. But yeah, so actually it's a fairly practical car, this. I would say they haven't told us exactly how much space there is in the back, but if you fold all those seats down, it's going to be way over 2,000 litres. Fold the third row down, probably about 800 to 900, I would say. So it's actually quite practical, having a square boot on this, and looks okay. But let's check out the interior. In the cabin, the 01 really lives up to its premium billing. You get a lot of soft touch materials, lovely surfaces. It feels a lot actually like the Li Autos that we've driven on this channel before. So you get leather up here on the dashboard, all across there. You get real wood inlays on the dashboard and in the doors, and all the way to the bottom of the door, even inside the door pocket, you get leather. So it's all really soft touch. The only plastic that you can find is this fake brushed metal section on the center console here. So it does feel like a very premium interior. As well as that, you get no space for a head-up display because it's a really short dashboard between here and the windscreen. So instead you get a 12.1-inch screen behind the steering wheel, big large screen for your usual driving functions. And then in the middle, you get a 15.7-inch 3K screen. So 15.7-inch, bit of a curious size, that one. Usually it's 15.4 or 15.6. 15.7 runs on the 8155 Snapdragon processor. That means it's not quite the fastest. If you go into maps, for example, I sometimes find there's a little bit of a lag between what I'm pressing and the screen will kind of have a legacy movement that keeps things moving when I don't want them to. But apart from that, it is a good system. You get these tiles on the front page here, which are really easy to use. This one gives you easy access to your heated, ventilated, massaging seats and your heating steering wheel as well, heated steering wheel. You can go into your menus very easily, lots of shortcut menus here and some deeper menus in there. And then this screen is very useful because this one comes with all of your driving functions for mountainous or gravel or snow, things like that. You can change between eco, comfort and sport very easily. You can change all your individual brake regen settings and acceleration and stuff like that. And you get also your tilt angle for your forwards and backwards and side to side, your altitude and your direction of travel. So all of your kind of traveling stuff is in one page there, which is very useful. You also get a camping mode down there. You get steering mode, so I think you can do automatic parking in this car, and you get a 360-degree camera, so you can see all around the car. You can specifically focus on the wheels, for example, when you're driving through toll booths and they've got the really high curbs, easily see where your wheels are on there. And on the more expensive versions, you also get transparent chassis, so you can see what's underneath the car when you're doing off-road stuff. So a decent screen there, quite useful. So that's supported by a 14-speaker sound system. So it's not a branded sound system, but what I do like is you get metal grates at least. So metal grates on both the big speakers in the door and that one up there on the A-pillar. Good sound system, does the job. Not super loud, but it's 7.1 surround sound, so quite useful. On top of that, we get ourselves 2 wireless chargers. They are only 15 watts, so they're not the fastest wireless chargers in the world, but they do get microfiber as your backing. The downside is they're not ventilated, so your phone might get a little bit warm on those. You get 2 cup holders, not the largest, but I mean, they're big enough. You get a manual kind of stick here, a real physical stick for changing your drive mode. So you've got real toggles here for your wipers on the left, your flashing lights, and you can do your cruise control on here as well. Our version of the car doesn't come with that much ADAS functionality, but you can get automatic lane change and things like that. I'm not sure if you can do urban autonomous driving. I think you can, but I haven't been able to test that. Our system doesn't have all of that stuff in it. In terms of storage, you get a large pocket in your door, you get a lot of space under here with a USB-A and a USB-C socket, decent sized glove box as well, with a kind of first aid kit in there, and a good amount of space in your center console as well. These seats, as I mentioned, heated, ventilated, and massaging. This driver's seat is 14-way adjustable with absolutely massive amounts of base cushion extension. I've never had a seat that has more base cushion extension than I require, so I actually have to tone it down a little bit because I've got little short legs. But yeah, very, very good driving position. Actually, you sit right in the middle of the windscreen. Very easy to get a good, imposing, and comfortable driving position in here. As I mentioned, outside you get a digital rear view mirror so you can look backwards, and you get twin panoramic roofs as well with electronic sunblinds built in. So all the things that you're going to want in a hot climate or on a hot day, for example. Lovely premium interior from the driver's seat. Let's check out the second row. In the second row, arguably, you get even better seats than you do in the front row. The only thing that you lack here is ventilation. So you do get heating and massaging, 10-point massage on these seats. You don't get ventilation. That's really the only thing that you lack. But what you do get is a very commanding position. The second row seats are undoubtedly higher than the front ones, which means that you get a very good view out the window. Like the Fangcheng Bao, I think the 01 would be a really good safari car, or just a car for just enjoying the landscape outside. And these second row seats are captain seats, very comfortable, loads of legroom. So my seat is all the way back here, and you can see loads of knee room and foot room. If I want to give this third row passenger a little bit more space, I can move my seat quite a bit further forward. And even there, very comfortable, good upright seating position, good amount of foot space underneath that seat, and plenty of knee room too. The only complaint that I have really about the second row seats is the armrest. So we both get armrests on our seats. Both of them come with cup holders in there as well. The only problem is the height. So the height is higher than the lower armrest, but lower than the windowsill. So you actually feel like you're kind of leaning this way or leaning this way. It would be nice if your arms could just match up with those on the doors. But you do get the same high quality materials all the way to the bottom here in the back as well. So you don't feel like you're skipping out on some of the good stuff in the front. Now, as well as that, you get pockets down here, pocket in the back of the seat. You get a small one down there, USB-C and USB-A sockets, and a 12V socket as well. We get controls in the middle here for our dual zone climate control, so we can change the temperature in the back of the car and the fan speed too. You can turn on your heated seats on there. You can turn on your massage via a button on the side of your seat as well. And if you want to have some entertainment, you can press this button on the roof there to lower down a 15.6-inch screen. While that's coming down, I'll tell you that on higher end versions of the 01, you can get zero gravity seats in the second row as well. And with those, you get to chill out, check out the screen. You can do some karaoke. You can watch videos on there. You can do meditation. You can also do screen mirroring. So you can put your phone screen on there and watch whatever it is that you're enjoying on a bigger screen. We also, as I mentioned, get that panoramic roof in the back with a sunblind, which lets lots of light into the back of the cabin. As ever, on a Chinese SUV, if you want more space and there's nobody sat in the front, you can control the front seat with controls there. Should also mention, by the way, the ISOFIX mountings. They're not the easiest to get to on the 01. They're kind of tucked into these little pockets here. But on the whole, it's pretty good. Plenty of space, lots of light in the cabin, very comfy, lovely soft seats with 10-point massaging function as well. Let's just check out if the third row also gets a decent standard of life or not. It's fair to say that the third row isn't quite as luxurious as the first and second rows. You get a flat base cushion and a flat backrest, so it's not really quite as embracing as the first and second rows. The good news is, though, if you are an adult like me, and I'm 178 centimeters tall, you can slide into the back really quite easily. If you put that seat where it is there, which still gives this guy plenty of space, I can get into a position where my knee is not quite touching the back of the seat. I've got a decent amount of foot room under both of the seat and the aisle here in the middle. And it's not too bad. Plenty of headroom as well. They are really more intended for kids, I would say, this last row. You can get this car, by the way, in 6 or 7-seater forms, so you can get 2 or 3 seats here in the back. I'm not sure I'd want to share this space with 2 other adults, but 3 kids could probably fit across here quite nicely. The downside is no ISOFIX mountings on the third row, so you've only got space for 2 children's seats in the car. And you're not totally left on your own, because you do get a USB-A socket on both sides. So you can charge your phone in the third row. You get a cup holder and a space for your phone as well, but you get a little bit more plastic back here, not quite as luxurious as the second row, but it's not too bad. Reasonable amount of space. You also get vents in the roof, so you can stay cool in the back as well, and you get big speakers there on the D-pillar. So not the worst third row in the world. It's not quite an MPV, for example, but it'll do. So what is the 01 like to drive? Well, to be honest with you, I've only had the chance to drive it in Shanghai, and as you can see, Shanghai is a pretty flat place. Not many mountains, so no real chance to take it off-road and test that ability. I'm hoping maybe I'll get an invite one day to ROX's off-road club. So they've got a kind of a famous off-roader who is running courses for ROX owners to teach them how to drive off-road. So maybe we'll get a chance to try it one day. But what we do know is that on the road, it's a really pleasant driving experience, honestly. Obviously, with all the benefits of an EV in terms of really smooth power delivery, 400 kilowatts of power in total will get us to 100 kilometers per hour in just 5.5 seconds. Basically, the exact same number as you'll get on a Li Auto. I believe someone told me that we're running on the same running gear that you had in the Li 1, which was their very first model. So, not entirely sure how true that is. Essentially 1.5 litre engine, twin motors. It's just very good, very easy to get along with. Ride quality is very good. Despite the fact this car doesn't come with air suspension like a Li Auto, it rides over pretty much all surfaces, very well damped, keeps the noise out. It's much more firm to drive than a Fangcheng Baobao 5, so give it a bit of beans. It doesn't roll anything like as much as a Fangcheng Baobao 5, so it does stay quite stable. We've got it in sport mode, so maybe you can actually loosen that up a little bit if you put it into eco mode, or tune down the suspension a little bit to make it more soft. But it's, yeah, very easy to get along with. It's very quiet. The engine noise is really well insulated, so you're not really getting anything in the background. The engine is on right now because it has to charge the battery, because we're pretty low, so it's got to charge the battery to make sure that we can actually drive power to the wheels. But you can't hear it. Just like a light hum in the background. You get double glazing on all three side windows, the windscreen and the two panoramic roofs as well. So yeah, it just rides very quietly. As I said, a lot like a Li Auto in terms of the overall driving experience. The seats are good, they're comfortable, the visibility is excellent all around. The windows go all the way to the back of the car, so great visibility in here. Overall, it's just a very pleasant car. You get a choice of battery sizes, at least in China. So the smaller one is a 44 kilowatt hour battery. The larger one is 58 kilowatts, both LFP batteries. They will get you 180 kilometers and 252 kilometers of EV only range on WLTC. So that's pretty decent. And the overall range is about 1,050 for the smaller battery and 1,132 for the larger battery. Not quite as good as a modern day Li Auto in terms of the overall range, but Li Auto's numbers are on CLTC. This is WLTC, which is much closer to reality. Our actual energy usage, and this includes some driving that hasn't been mine, so before I was driving the car, over the last 1,800 kilometers, we're getting 19.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers and 7.6 liters of fuel use over the last 53 hours. So that's not bad. That's a reasonable job, actually. It's not too energy consuming. Now, in terms of ADAS systems, you can, as I said, get a LiDAR and more radars on the more expensive versions of this car. So I haven't been able to use those because we've got the base version. Mine has only been doing adaptive cruise control. So currently no lane keeping assist or automatic lane changes and things like that. On the more expensive versions, you can get it. So I can't really tell you too much about how well the ADAS works on those higher end versions. So then coming to prices, it starts at 299,900 RMB. That's for the smaller battery, 7-seat version, which I'm pretty sure is what we have. For the most expensive version, which comes with the larger battery and 6 seats, and obviously the extra technology for going off-road, that one is 359,900 RMB. And I'll put your currency conversions on the screen for you to see as and when you need them. But overall, yeah, it's a really pleasant car to get along with this. I absolutely wouldn't have any issues driving this around. The visibility, I think, is definitely a really good thing. 360-degree camera helps, of course, in tight areas, but It rides smoothly, very quietly. It's, yeah, I would just say pleasant. Basically, that's it. I could summarize it by saying pleasant, quiet, comfortable. And I had a few guests in the back as well over the last few days. They really enjoyed it too, which is a reasonable sign of the comfort of the car. So that's it for our review of the ROX 01, a car that I would say sits pretty neatly between the more off-road focused Fangcheng Bao 5 or Denza B5 and the more urban focused, more entertainment focused Li Auto L8. It's maybe not quite as luxurious as the L8, but it's pretty close. The infotainment, not quite up to the same standards as the L8. And it's not quite as good off-road or quite as off-road focused as the Bao 5, but it is considerably better on the infotainment and luxury front than that car. So I do think there is a space in the market for a car like this. If you kind of want to tread the line between both, but not really be a serious off-roader and aren't worried about having the absolute best tech in the car, then the ROX 01 could well be a car worth looking at. And I do understand why it's doing quite well in the Middle East. Anyway, that's it for our video today. Thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see the great off-road options coming out of China. And as ever, we'll catch you next time.